As the left-right game continues in D.C., as the distractions of cooked economic data comes in, a little piece of truth hit the mainstream media today, which is $223 billion in deficit spending is what took place in the month of February, the largest deficit spending month in the history of this nation. Second place was last February. Third place is the February prior. So as we see, we're being told that we're in recovery, we see what's really going on. Year after year, our deficits are growing larger. Year after year, we're spending more money that we don't have. And before you think for 1 second it's time to go after, whatever, the Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, these are all bloated projects that are full of pork. But in reality, these are crumbs. This is nothing compared to the money we have invested into behemoths like Freddie and Fannie, or the trillions of dollars that have been spent in our names of rescuing a financial system that we were told would be fixed with an unread piece of legislation like the Dodd-Frank bill. But in reality, we're sitting here, Sheila Bair going out trying to convince the markets that the too big to fail are not too big to fail, but the markets know better. That's why the lending rate, the cost to insure their debt is so much less than it is for the average bank, the banks that didn't do things wrong. Here we sit in 2011, going into the spring. Dodd-Frank is now law, and we have the too big to fail, which are broken up, and they're no more systemic to the economy than they were before 2008, correct? Absolutely not. They're more systemic than they ever were. They're bigger than too big to fail. They are the economy in this country. Yet we still want to squabble about matters that are not going to affect one way or another the direction of the country. We have an argument going on now on a spending bill in D.C. The Democrats want to cut $6 billion. The Republicans want to cut $50 billion. This money is being used as a distraction to keep the left and the right fighting, the citizens of the nation fighting. We need to literally go to Wall Street and surround these too big to fail firms and say, you will not do business in this country anymore. You will not do business on this planet anymore. You have bankrupt our nation. You have bankrupt the financial system of the world. And you're sitting here looting countries of the world, exploiting warfare around the world, exploiting energy needs of the citizens of the world. And at this point, they're exploiting the actual need to just have food on the table, making, how many millions of dollars a day because of rising food prices, because of rising energy prices. We do know that some of these firms can go entire quarters without having a losing day in trading. So these companies that should be bankrupt, that don't exist anymore, and were bailed out because of you, because of your potential earnings in the future, they're sitting there hoarding this money to the tunes of tens of trillions of dollars, and they're doing what with it? Are they investing back into the country, back into the community? No, they're selling and buying each other's stock. They're investing and speculating into the stock market, while the average American's income is falling, while the unemployment rate, even though the Bureau of Labor Statistics wants you to believe that it has fallen in the last month, Gallup will tell you the real story. It's exactly where it was a year ago, and it's not getting better. Small businesses can't borrow money. Credit is being restricted to the average citizen. The only persons making hay in this economy are the ones who have bought this economy. The too big to fail, which have destroyed this nation and are now bringing the world closer to World War III. Because after all, we know this is how these central cartel of banksters operate. They bring the world into depression. They give you one option and one option only to get out of it, and that is ramp up to war. Is it ironic that we see today the United States is trying to figure out how to get arms into the protesters in the hands of the citizens of Libya? Isn't it ironic that we see stories about Iran coming out today trying to purchase yellow cake uranium, just like we heard about Iraq before we invaded that country? Every day we have another story blaming somebody else on this planet for the condition of the economy, for the condition of the anger in the world. We're going to try to lay that onto a terrorist group, lay that onto a despot government or a despot leader. But in reality, we live in and amongst the biggest dictators, the biggest control freaks, the biggest cause of the world's angst. And this is the central banksters who want us to fight amongst ourselves, want us to kill each other because it profits them, plain and simple. That's all I got.